This video is on the long run aggregate supply curve. The difference between the short run and long run supply is that in the short run, if you remember from micro, that there's at least one fixed input. And in macro, we talk about in the short run, wages are fixed. Wages don't adjust in the short run, they only adjust in the long run. So our short run aggregate supply curve sloped upwards for that reason, that firms are able to make more profit in the short run as if there's inflation or if there's a rise in price level because wages haven't adjusted. But in the long run, when wages adjust, firms have no incentive to produce more or less because everything's adjustable in the long run, and there's no real effect on output or on GDP. Now, before we get to graphing the long run aggregate supply curve, what we're really looking at with LRAS, the short version of long run aggregate supply, is a production possibility curve. We're going to find out that we can have short run equilibriums where we maybe have some unemployment in the short run, so we're operating like at point A inside the production possibility curve, or for short periods of time we might be operating beyond our production possibility curves. But for the most part, we end up with kind of like the long run aggregate supply curve as being, at full production. What we're assuming at point C is that there's full production due to efficient use of resources, so we have efficiency as well. And so there's no kind of unused or idle resources. And so that's the idea of the LRAS curve as well, is that we're assuming full production and efficient production at that level of output. Now, the shift factors for the production possibility curve was new and better technology and new or better resources. And that's going to project pretty well onto the LRAS curve as well. So the LRAS curve you can think of as kind of this line. How much can our American economy produce if we assume that everybody's working that wants to? So we put LRAS on our macro graph of price level and GDP. The LRAS curve has no, or price level has no impact on LRAS. So there's a fixed amount of output. So we call that full output or full employment output, or the natural rate of unemployment output, or potential output, it's sometimes called as well, potential output. That's our potential. That's how much the American economy can produce at full employment. So the shift factors for the curve are the same as production possibility curves. We have new and better technology will increase LRAS, and or newer, better resources. And we tend to focus on, in this case, the idea of capital formation. That in order for the economy to grow, we need to accumulate more capital, more machinery, more tools, more factories. So we tend to focus on that as being kind of the key towards economic growth. And certainly as we get into the policy aspects of macroeconomics and AP, we'll get at how various governmental agencies and policies can promote capital formation, or some of them that don't. So if we were to increase, let's say, capital formation technology, we're going to be able to produce more in the short run, right? Because technology is going to increase the short run aggregate supply curve, but it will also increase the long run aggregate supply curve. And the major difference being is that the difference between the shift factors in the short run and the long run really deal with input prices. So if wages fall, firms are going to increase production in the short run, but when wages fall, it has no impact on the long run growth. And so when we show this shift to the right of LRAS, we're talking about this is what we consider to be economic growth. So anything dealing with the long run talks about growth. Any changes in equilibrium in the short run, you'll later find out, is a change in output, not economic growth. Economic growth can only occur if a society gets more technology and or more better resources, thus increasing long run aggregate supply and shifting the production possibility curve outward.